Hello. Hi, everyone. So today's session will start off in child's pose. If you can get to that position right here, at the way back at the back of the mat. Way back. Because we'll go from child's pose in a little while forward onto our tummy and up into cobra and then back into child's pose. It's a gorgeous way to start off a sort of a slow, dynamic flow. So just let yourself settle into any version of child pose that suits you. I'll just check a couple of other things while you're getting organized. And just making sure that microphones are muted just in case. It's just helpful for everyone else, obviously. Yeah, we're good. Perfect. Brilliant. Lovely gang in tonight now. So we're right back into child's pose. That's the starting position, right back at the back of the mat. Really settle in. Do any small little wiggles of the shoulder, the head, neck, anything that you know just needs a little release before you get into your movements. Now's the time. Now's the time just to do all of those little, the small things as we call them, things you're kind of used to doing now, like little wrist movements or whatever. So child's pose has so many options in terms of upper body anyway. You can always have the arms well stretched out ahead of you, or you can make two little fists and just pop your forehead onto the fists. But the aim of this starting pose in child's pose is really to help you turn away from the world, and we want to kind of come away from the noise, the stimulation, the action of the day, and we're trying to kind of unload any stress from the week. We're trying to take it away and just stop and make some time, make some space for ourselves and just have a little listen, have a little check-in. Most importantly, have a slow down. So whatever position you've kind of settled into now, try closing your eyes. You won't need to see me, just my voice and your own awareness of some different things now. That's all you really need. It's such a gift to be able to settle into your practice and be comfortable with exactly who you are and how you are today. Send a breath across the back line of the body as if you're trying to make the skin across your back stretch. Notice how your shoulders soften with every exhale. You're tucked away from it all right now. Allow the toes to relax, the fingers to relax. And tiny little areas like your jaw muscles. Notice where the tongue in your mouth is. If it's pressing hard to the roof of your mouth or to your teeth, just relax the tongue a little further. Release any neck tension if possible by simply breathing and just becoming aware of it and sending a signal to that area. Help it piece by piece, and we'll flow through movement now quite beautifully and easily. But it's always nice just to get a starting point of complete and utter relaxation before you kick off. It's kind of like if you were an artist, you're just preparing the canvas, you're ready to go. Dedicated this time to yourself, to some quietness and calmness and no strong demands, just ease and flow, and you'll feel great during and after. Stretch out your arms as if they are going to do downward dog. So like way out in front of you now with the baby fingers at the edge of the mat. Here's an arm stretch. If your head is on the mat, that's fine. If you have to lift it, that's fine too. But let's come up onto the fingertips. And when you're up onto the fingertips, like your hands are like little tiny tarantulas nearly, you might feel a good strong underarms, shoulder, waist stretch, that sort of thing. Here's a tiny little movement now. Gently send one underarm towards the mat and just pause there when you feel like you can go no more. Breathe, of course. And then the opposite underarm, like you're just trying to gently rotate or send one underarm a little further down toward the mat. So your head doesn't need to move or get involved. Other underarm again. Isn't it such a subtle little stretch? Great if you've had work at a desk now today or a computer. And then the other underarm. Keep up on the fingertips. It's strengthening work for the hands as well. And then put the full palms, full hands down on the mat. Now we're going to move forwards in a moment, but there are different ways to do this. And the way I'd like you to do it today is by clawing into your fingertips, imprinting your hands really strong to the mat, and almost using the pull and the connection of your hands on the mat to move your body forwards. You're really using your arm strength when you do that. Bring your knees together then, and slowly lower your body down onto the mat, onto your tummy. Now press up into a little cobra, big breath in. Exhale, push back to downward dog, or child's pose. Here I'm going. I'm a step ahead of myself. Move forwards again. Use those hands pulling on the mat to get you forward if you can. And then we're down onto the floor, onto our tummy. A little stretch up for the back, cobra. And then back to child's pose. Now, anyone who's a bit more advanced or happy to move on with this, you could change child's pose now to downward dog. And you could just flow forwards and end up in plank, full plank, as opposed to moving forwards with your knees on the floor. And then lower down gradually to the mat. Cobra, inhale, breath in. Exhale, back to child's pose or downward dog, your decision. Moving forwards then, could be half plank, which is knees on the ground, or full plank. And then we're lowering to the mat. How about you just try one round all to yourself without me talking you through it? See if you can be led by your own breath. And the last move is child's pose or downward dog. So be with either. Whether it's child's pose or downward dog, just stay there for a moment. And then we'll all move to downward dog. So anyone who's down low, up you come. And let's treat our ankles and our calves by moving the feet, just gently pedaling or pulsing one heel towards the ground and then the other. And then widen out your feet to the width of the mat, bend your knees deeply and walk your hands back towards the feet. Keep the knees bent and then slowly, slowly rise up, slowly. Arms will reach up overhead, interlace the fingers. Big breath in, little side stretch to one side on your breath out. Take your time here. And then big breath in, up you come. Breath out over to the other side. Again, take your time. You're just allowing the back to change position nice and slowly. Then hands behind your back, interlace the fingers, link them any way you can. Shoulders back, arms back. Huge stretch across the front of the chest. And breathe into that space just to give yourself time, again, to move out of the positions that you might have been stuck in during the day. Shake out the arms. We're going to go for a little hamstring stretch now. Slide the hands down along the legs, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Maybe you can hook your fingers underneath your toes here. Drop the head and neck. That's the most important bit here. Roll around your shoulders a little bit. Now lean over to one foot. Push into that heel, lift that hip. So whatever foot you've pushed into, you're trying to really press hard then into the heel, toes are relaxed, and you're trying to create as much length and tension up through that leg, that's to stretch it. Pushing into the heel, but lifting the hip. Most of your pressure on that foot, on that side. Breathe and remind the neck to stay relaxed, because that one will keep popping up for you. Over to the other side. While you're doing the stretch for the leg, think about your shoulders, neck, upper body, and really give that a chance to be off duty. That doesn't have anything to do here, only be really chilled out and let gravity help you with the release of any neck or head tension. Just drip the stress off the head, off the back of the neck, let it go. Okay. Come back to the center point. We're going to crawl forwards again. Crawling is great for the core. So we're moving forwards to downward dog again. Getting our positioning, moving the feet around a little bit. And we're going to take one leg up in the air behind us. Doesn't matter which one at all. One leg up in the air. And then that knee comes forward up towards your tummy. You're in plank there. It's just for a breath or two. Can you bring that leg back up in the air again? Big breath in. And then forward is hand here on a breath out. We've got 3 of them each side. Bring that leg back up. And then forward and knee to chest. Imagine there's a fire on the mat. You're trying to get your leg up away from that fire. Now leg back and we're back to downward dog. Opposite leg. Reach it out first. Get some space, length and breath. Big breath in now. Breath out, knee to chest. We're moving to plank. Let's breathe in to reach the leg out. Breathe out to come forwards. You have it. Last one. Make it your best one. Reaching it back and out. And then pulling the knee to your tummy. Lifting it up high away from the mat. Breathing. And then back to downward dog. Nice work. Let's take the pressure off the wrists. Walk forward to the front of the mat. We'll stay in a regular forward fold now. So feet about hip distance apart. And we're going to drop the head and neck. And just let the hands dangle, or if you like to put the fingertips underneath the feet, do drop the head and neck though. So important. Move back onto your heels, both of them. And then move on to the balls of the feet. And just rock forwards and backwards a little bit a couple of times. And then settle somewhere in the middle. Now, when you were in child's pose, you were able to take a breath that almost created a skin stretch at the back line of the body. Try it here. A breath that almost makes the skin across your back stretch. That's quite a big position. Push into the heels. Aim to straighten the knees, but as you can see, my knees don't straighten here, so just work on the level that you feel comfortable at. Bend the knees really deeply now. It's going to just get a little stronger now for a breath or two. Elbows come up onto your thighs. Okay. And now just walk your heels closer, just a little closer. Lift your chest. Hands come into your heart center. So a little quick chair pose. But we're going to put a little hit on it, okay? We're going to rotate. So turn to one side when you do that. Let's drop down to get the elbow outside the knee. Elbow outside the knee. Lift the chest. A bit of heat in that, especially if you're on top of a fire. Turn to the other side. Elbow to knee. Elbow to knee. Lift the chest. Breathe. And the hands getting a lovely break now. I know the legs are tired, but Let's come back to the center and then reach everything up. And then hands come down to your heart center. Welcome to the heat of the class. So we're kind of building into that pretty quickly. Now, left foot back to the back of the mat. Get your positioning steady here. So we want the front knee over the front ankle. We don't want to feel like we're on a tightrope. So maybe you might have a width between your feet. I always imagine that there are two double yellow lines or skis or something on the mat. You know, you could keep your feet that bit apart. Now, gently push the left hip forwards. That's the back leg. Tuck down the tailbone. Squeeze the left bum cheek. And before you do anything with your arms, you should feel like you're getting a little stretch in here to the front of your left hip. You have to keep this bum squeezed, so really important. Arms reach up. Brilliant. Maybe you can gaze up to the ceiling, or maybe that'll just send you off kilter completely. But we just try these little challenges. A little look up. The left bum cheek stays squeezed and it'll keep flicking off. See if you can keep it on. What my hair is doing today. Drop your right arm to rest on your right thigh. You can look straight ahead now and tilt over to the right. So we build in a lovely little side stretch. Will you notice the subtle difference here between squeezing the left bum and leaving it release? There's a massive difference in the stretch. Huge. So keep it squeezed if you can. Okay. Hands to your heart center. Back heel comes to the floor and just spread out your width and your length a little bit more, and we ease out to warrior two then. Right arm forward, left arm behind, matching up with right leg in front, left leg behind. Woo, great. I've got a nice one. It's called humble warrior today. Take the hands behind your back, interlace the fingers, shoulders back, and then we have to turn our body to face the front of the mat. It's kind of like you pivot or you spin. Now, I'm all about the back bum muscle now at the moment, but this back bum muscle, left cheek, needs to be on firmly here now to support you. So hit it, switch it on, keep it on, and see about moving forwards, and then letting your head drop so you can see the foot behind you, the left foot. Left bum cheek stays on, and then connected arms reach up to the sky. That's a huge, strong move. Press down into the baby toe of the back foot for even more strength and stability here. And release the hands to the mat, pivot on the back foot, and take yourself back to plank or downward dog, either one. Walk the feet up to the front of the mat. Inhale, reach up, steady and slow. And then hands back to your heart center again. Whew, a little pump of energy to all of that already. Right leg back as far as you can take it, as far as you feel stable and comfortable. And we allow the front knee to bend. Obviously the back knee bends a little bit here, but the front knee kind of really stabilizes you here. Head over heart, heart over pelvis. We're dead straight in the middle now. Okay. Back hip, right hip. Shift it forward slightly, and then tuck the tailbone down, squeeze the right bum cheek. And by doing all those small details, that's usually where you feel the front of the right hip start to stretch. Love it, because it'll come on more now with the arms. Reach forwards, and maybe that's where you feel this is my limit today, or maybe you're going up a little higher, up a little higher. Maybe you can look up in between the two hands, but the right bum cheek squeezing is more of a priority than looking up to the sky here. So the right bum cheek on and strong and giving you a big stretch is way more important than the balance aspect. Okay, look forwards. Left hand rests on left leg, right arm up and over, huge side stretch coming in now. There's a massive difference between right bum cheek on and right bum cheek off. My cues, so right bum cheek on, you get me. You know what I'm talking about because you can feel it. Keep that lovely deep stretch moving into your hip. Fab. Now, hands to your heart center, we'll do it. Right hip or right heel down, and then stretch out the legs just a little bit further to move into warrior two. Catch your breath here, just get your balance, stabilize everything. Then the hands move and connect behind your back, interlace, shoulders back, turn to face the front of the mat. Ready? Game on. Right bum cheek switch on all over again. Keep it on, and then see if you can tumble yourself forwards. Look back and down at the back foot if you can. Try your best to keep the back bum cheek solid and the baby toe side of the back foot glued to the mat. And maybe then you feel comfortable reaching the arms up towards the sky, connected. Got to use your breath here. So try not to get caught holding the breath or squeezing the toes. They're just kind of compensation things that can happen, but we try and train the body to release that, to get more out of it. Now, arms down onto the mat. Take back your back foot. You might do a little plank, but move back into downward dog. And then come back to where you started in child's pose, just to take the pressure off the body. Go a little slower again for a few breaths and turn your attention inwards into yourself again. Just see how you're feeling after that vigorous flow. Did it get your heart going a little bit? Did it kind of pull the rug from underneath you and pull you out of your comfort zone a little bit? And if that's the case, notice how quickly you can be brought back to your comfort zone in yoga. There's a beauty in it, in that it can be quite challenging and stretchy for a moment, but then it can turn quite quiet again and relaxing and relieving again. It's great to be encouraged out of the comfort zone when it comes to your body like that. New challenges, new strengths. Speaking of all of that fun stuff, let's move ourselves up into all fours. Just release the back with a few cat-cows and then we'll be on our feet again, okay? So head and tail up, you know the drill here. And then you round and you just kind of move with the beauty of your own breath and your own wants, needs and requirements for your spine today. The more comfortable you get with your practice and your time on the mat, the more you can kind of improvise in these easier moves. So if you need to stretch your side or you want to lean a little to the left or throw a little curveball in here by doing kind of snaky shapes, off you go, you know. You can't do any harm here, so just wiggle and stretch and give some space to every corner of your body that needs it in a position like this. And we're going to meet standing up. Take the pressure off the hands again, but make the legs and the core do a little bit of work. There's a little balance sequence coming through here now. So if you want to hold something, just be near a wall, chair, something that'll just give you a little bit of support. But otherwise, when you're ready, it's left knee up into your hands, left knee up into your hands. Roll around your left ankle joint, just release. Just in case there's any clicks, cracks, or caught up bits that want to free up. Perfect, easy time to do it. Now, you're going to slide your left hand to your left hip. Naturally, you rotate to do that. I bet you can rotate a little further if you'd like to try. Left arm reaching out behind you. Wow, that's a good one. Move the right hand, the hand on the knee, to the other side of the knee. And gently push off that knee really slowly. And you might realize you're now twisting a little bit further. Put a lot of energy into the standing heel. Lift your spine. Please keep breathing. It's amazing. Let's turn back and catch that knee again. Wow, deep twist for the spine on one leg. Grab onto that foot behind you now, quad stretch. If you feel that just doesn't work for you, maybe you can get a hold of your tracksuit. You got it. Up nice and tall again. I want you to try and squeeze your left hip to push your pelvis forward. And that brings in a beautiful quad stretch. And once you're feeling comfortable and balanced with that, let's bring it into dancer's pose. It's so straightforward to do. A little bend on your standing knee, a little reach forward, and a little lift up of the back foot. Now maybe you want to take this a little further and just go a little higher with it. But just see whatever your body's comfortable with. You've already been balancing for 1, 2. This is the third balance move now, so you know it is plenty. Third, probably about fourth actually. Anyway, let's slowly come out of that and shake it off. Woo! I think I'll go to wait for the fire for the next round for the other side for sure. All right, let's stabilize first. So gathering up the right knee to our tummy, or just holding it up anyway. Got to get your balance, and often you'll get that by simply gazing at something that isn't moving, a picture, anything. Let's take the right hand to the hip. So that's rotated you a little bit. Maybe, just maybe, you can rotate out and wide with that right arm now, creating a much bigger space and rotation. Push down into the left heel, the standing leg, to keep you tall. If you want to take it a little further, you just move the hand on the knee to the outside of the knee. And notice what happens if you gently push into that knee, you'll twist a little further. So you're using there what's called a bind in yoga, a connection, to kind of move another part of the body a little bit further. You're doing great. Woo! Let's bring it back and see about a quad stretch. All these transitions, if you find them a bit tricky, will come easier and easier week on week with practice. So slow down the breath, squeeze the right bum cheek, push the hips forward, and enjoy a very healthy stretch for the quad muscle, the thigh. Lift your spine, lift your chest, even broaden a little more space across the front of your chest. Push down into the left heel just to give you a little more lift and height. And if you want to take this through to dancer's pose, a little bend in your standing leg, a little lift of the back foot. Float, that's what you're doing here. You're just floating into this gorgeous dancer's pose. Just to give your body, your center of gravity, everything a little more of a challenge, a new place to play. You can lift anything any little bit more, and it'll just take you a little further. Whoa, it's strong work. And then come all the way to standing. Okay. Shake off the shoulders, the waist, the hips, anything you need. The lovely stretch for the side of you now. Really good. Feet really close together. Try it this way. There's different ways to do it. Feet really close together. Arms out. Big breath in. You'll interlace the hands overhead. You don't need to see my hands for this. Now, we're going to tilt in one direction. It's called crescent pose, to go in one direction like this. But ideally, you try and keep the top underarm shining to the ceiling rather than looking at the floor, you know? You just try and keep a little bit more space and air under that arm. So you'll be feeling something now. Just whatever way your arms have gone, whatever way your upper body's gone, soften the opposite knee. And you'll feel that stretch just drop down a little bit to your waist and into the side of your hip. We breathe into that space just to give it as much stretch and time as possible. There's no rush. Straighten up the leg again, arms go up overhead, and we tip over to the other side and just enjoy the top part of the stretch. Just slowing down to listen, notice, feel where we're experiencing that stretch. And then it's softening the opposite knee and just noticing how things change for you when you do that. Fantastic. ease off it, straighten the knee, and then just drop the arms down by your side, meet you up at the top of the mat. Just start rolling the shoulders around now. Get loads of space around the shoulder blades. And then inhale, arms forward and up. Exhale, the hands will come down to the mat again. Give the hands a little bit more work to do. So when you get down to the mat, you're going to have to bend your knees a lot to be able to get to a position where your hands are on the mat and your feet. Often we're just like trying to touch the ground here, but get low to get your hands down. Now spread out the hands and load a bit of pressure into them and then back off them again. Load a bit more pressure into them and back off again. Next time you load a bit of pressure into them, maybe you can take one foot back or two with a hop and you're back in plank. Woo. Move to downward dog. Great work there. And just pedal through again. Now this downward dog, it is going to get a little strong for the upper body. Try it out, okay? See what you think of it. There's a little twist coming up. I want you to widen out your feet. So the hands are wide, feet are wide, knees are a little bit bent, and the bum is moving back towards the heels. If you find your hands slipping, which often happens, grab a hold of the edge of the mat. You can grab on like a fist there. But I want you to try, play with this. One hand to opposite knee. Okay, and then bring it back. Opposite side, one hand to opposite knee. Amazing. So if you manage that well, you'll manage the next bit. If you felt that was strong enough for you, just do that again. One hand, opposite knee, outside of the knee, and you grab down towards the outside of the ankle. Breathe. Well done. Put it back. That's strong work on the upper body now. Let's try the other side. Might be just the knee, or you might go all the way down to where the ankle is. And enjoy the big twist that comes with it. Breathe. Go all the way back to downward dog. And then knees down, hips back, child's pose. So now we're taking the pressure off the arms again. But what I can tell you is from attempting those, you've really put a lot of strength work into the arms. And I know it only feels like it's seconds, it's breath. But it's really strong work for them. So it's great energy to push through the arms. You're doing great, absolutely great. We're going to move into a pigeon pose now. And we have two variations of it, okay? So you're going to move forwards into all fours. I'm going to talk you through this. If you have blocks, you will use one now. If you don't worry one bit about it. Let's bring the left knee forwards so it touches the left hand. Move the left foot across your mat so it's over to the other side. It's if I look down, it's in front of my right hip. So I'll just change my position so you'll get a gist of what I'm talking about there. It's like that. Now move the back leg back as far as it can go. In my case, forward. Yeah, far as it can go, far as it can go. Like you can usually keep nudging that back another little bit. And then you'll land it and it'll feel like, yeah, I'm gone as far now as I need to with that. The blocks bit, well, that really kicks in here. There'll be a space, a gap between your thigh and the floor. And you might want to just stick in a block there just to bring the ground up to meet your leg. Rather than, it's not a great idea to roll over and put the bum on the floor. It changes everything for the spine. So it's not a great position for your spine to do that. Now, we're going to play with this position. Once your legs are relatively okay, comfortable-wise, you're going to make two little gorilla fists and you're going to lift your chest. And you remember I've been on about this back bum cheek for a while. So your right bum cheek in this case is the back bum cheek. Squeeze it. Press the right foot firmly down onto the floor and lift your chest. That's quite an active stretch. There's one other piece you can add to this now, and that's pushing the front knee and shin and foot down into the mat as well. So think of the front leg like an anchor, the back foot like an anchor, and the right bum cheek as kind of a squeeze and a driver of a good stretch here. So all those extras really They make it hard, but they're pretty good, pretty strong work. Now, we're going into a stronger bit here if you want to try it. So it's a little bit more advanced, but just see what you think. It's, some people do it and they go, it's fine. Other people do it and say, no way, not yet. Wait and see. If this back knee bends comfortably, you can just try and see if it does. Perhaps you can reach back and grab the foot. I still have a little gorilla fist going on here in the front. And if you can grab the foot, maybe you don't need that hand on the floor at all. Maybe you can bring yourself more upright. And if you've gone that far with it, keep squeezing your bum cheeks, pull your pubic bone up to your belly button, lift your chest. Some people like to go the full hog, lift the arm as well. You don't have to. You could still have your hand on the floor. You could still have both hands on the floor, but just breathe with whatever level and option you're playing with. They're all challenging. Now come down from whatever option you're in, come down and turn off all the switches, turn off any pushing, pressing or lifting, and see about just bringing your head down to as low a position as you like. So this is a very passive stretch now, a position where it feels like a big stretch, but you don't have to push anything to get anything out of it. You just have to be here and almost let yourself release into it. Stay low here just for another couple of breaths. Let the work happen. And then we transition to do the other side by using plank or downward dog or hands and knees on fours. So let you call that one. What way would you like to change out? You can just slide back and be in an all fours position, perfectly suitable. Maybe you took it up to plank or downward dog. Each to their own there. All right, let's do the other side then when you're ready. Right knee to right hand. Right foot physically usually has to be moved over to the other side. Back knee back, back knee back. This is kind of getting us into a nice deep hip stretch. Block slotted into underneath your right hip. And generally kind of wherever feels like it would serve a purpose. Yeah? Okay, play around now. We're going to make 2 gorilla fists if that suits you. If you feel like it just doesn't work for me, those hand positions don't work, there I am on a block, much easier on the wrists, on the hands. So you decide. That's the beauty of all these little additionals, props and things like that. Now let's use anchors here. Anchors are just places that really lodge you into the ground, but they provide a big stretch. So back foot anchors down, 2 arms, 2 hands anchoring down a bit. Notice if you put your anchor into the knee, front shin, front foot, you kind of perk up a little bit. And then the back cheek is your left cheek in this instance. Squeeze it and make it do a bit of work so that you get the best out of this. Of course, breathe. There's no point to doing this, holding everything into a strong position and then holding your breath. You'll miss it. You'll miss a beat. You'll miss the good out of it. Yep. Muscles need your oxygen. Every cell in your body needs that oxygen. That's strong work. When we try the leg, that back leg bit, you bend up that knee a couple of times first and just see if it's up for it. Like again, a little side option here is that you could use your block in front or anything like that. And then you always have to make sure that the kneecap is happy with it. So if it wasn't, move the leg and try another position. All good. Squeeze your bum cheek, left bum cheek, lift your chest. Maybe you don't need that front hand anymore. Maybe you do. Maybe you're thinking, Maybe if I just reach it up for a moment and then put it down again. But wherever you are, breathe, lift your spine, pubic bone gently moving towards belly button. It just gives a little bit of core activity going on. So wherever you are with this, because it's strong, we slowly ease our way down again. And we're going to get low, get down, find ground again. And let's just settle in here now again. Let's just ease our body down low to give the more passive version of this position some time without any pressures or pushing or challenge really. We're a great stretch for the hips. A really deep, deep, deep stretch. Always moving the feet. If they felt uncomfortable, just give them a new place. That can happen halfway through or at any stage. And then we consider how we change our position. Just don't want you falling asleep just yet. Let's bring our hands onto the mat. Maybe it's all fours, maybe it's plank and downward dog. Your choice. What's it going to be? If it's all fours, do a little cat and cow. If it's downward dog, just pedal your legs around there for a moment. Have a big refreshing breath. And then I have one very subtle hip strength challenge for you before bringing you down into more of a deep stretch again. So for this challenge, you do ideally need two things that are like blocks, whether they're blocks or two cushions or two books, whatever, something. One block will go between the feet, one block will go between the knees. And then we lie ourselves down and we put ourselves into this position where the knees are hovering over the hips, the toes point up towards the ceiling, the blocks are being supported, not madly squeezed or anything, just supported. Got it? When you get to that position, you might find yourself holding your breath or tensing the middle of your body a lot. Can you place one hand on your heart, one hand on your lower tummy, just as a reminder to keep the breathing going gently. So knees are over your hips, toes point up to the ceiling. Now your hip challenge, once you get here, is first to gently press the lower back towards the mat. Then I want you to squeeze your foot block with 100% strength, and then squeeze your knee block and alternate that squeezing. Squeeze the foot block, squeeze the knee block, and can you subtly monitor that you're still breathing and monitor that your lower back is as close to the mat as possible. Okay, just do 5 more each. Foot, knee, foot, knee, foot, knee, foot, knee. One more. Foot, knee. Take the blocks. Put the feet together and drop the knees out away from each other. So after just doing a very subtle little hip challenge, where we worked on inner hip muscles and outer hip muscles by using our feet and our knees, we're now just letting our inner thighs, inner hips get a stretch from the ease of gravity. Just no pushing, no pulling, just being here now. Make sure the lower back is quite happy with this position. Shoulders are relaxed too. Now while you're here, take your 2 blocks, 2 cushions, 2 books, whatever you were using. Put them one on top of another over at your left hand side here, just near, kind of outside from where your hip is. Okay, bring your 2 knees together, straighten your left leg, take your right knee all the way up to your tummy. And then with your left hand on your right knee, you're going to roll it and guide it across till it meets your 2 blocks or whatever you're using. Can you stretch out your right hand as far out as it can go and look away from the legs, look towards the right hand. Now the 2 blocks may be useless to you depending on where they're put. Ideally, they will land kind of under the knee, maybe the shin a little bit. I intend for them to be like a little ledge or a little support for your leg. Because when you can support that leg in this deep, deep rotated stretch, you can kind of switch off a little bit and leave yourself here for a few breaths. If the position of the blocks, if you don't like it, if you think, God, I need them to be higher, you can, that is one great thing about blocks, you can just change them around and see if that's better for you. Great stretch. Let's see if we can rotate out of that now. Come back, guide the leg up and back. And straighten that leg out then. We'll change over. So just move over your blocks now to the other side. Gather up the left knee, or if you're doing it that way. Off over. Find whatever you need, your blocks or whatever you're using. You get the gist. It's just to have a little bit of support somewhere for your legs. Now when you settle into it, you feel like you've kind of maneuvered whatever you need to. It can be so relaxing. It can be such a delicious way to kind of wind down after what seemed to me like quite a fast class. There's a lot of moving in it, quite a lot of challenge at this stage of the course. You're well able for it. And let's slowly, slowly move back from that position. Take it back your own way. And then just slide yourself out long on the mat. Stretch your arms up overhead. And just give yourself one last long lengthening stretch. Sometimes what's nice is just reaching and lengthening one side of the body versus the other. One side versus the other. And then as slow as you like, get yourself warm and comfortable. And take yourself into a relaxation pose. Shavasana, the true resting pose. That's where we want to try and end up now after a minute or two. So you can put on your socks, jumpers, whatever you need. And I'll guide you through the rest. If you're laid out on your back with your legs straight, just try this tiny technique. It works lovely sometimes. I want you to lift up one arm up to the ceiling And then lengthen it as you put it back down into a new position beside your body. Palm up is a great position for the shoulder, if you can tolerate it. Same thing, other arm, reach it up to the ceiling. Lengthen it as you're putting it back down into a new position. Palm up. Just kind of gives the shoulder a little reset when you do that. We're going to do the same to the legs, but we don't have to lift the leg the whole way up to the ceiling. A little lift, lengthen the leg and put it down. A little lift of the leg, opposite leg, lengthen it and put it down. And then we start and move into more of a relaxation session now with a big, refreshing, relaxing, deep breath in and a soothing, kind breath out. We start by asking ourselves how we are right now. It's like a little check-in with our mind. We've looked after ourselves well physically, and we really jumped into it from the start. We're now coming more to our mind and just checking in, asking and listening. And when you ask yourself how you are, another question that often can follow from that for our own mind is, what is the mind, what is the body asking you for more of in general in life? And on the flip side of that, what is it asking you for less of? It's usually in times of quietness like this that the true answers appear. And without rushing or judging, you actually have time here to really listen to those true answers and just acknowledge them. You don't need to do anything about them just now, but just acknowledge that they've come up. Nothing is right or wrong, it just is. And then we take our mind from all of that for a little while and we bring it back down out of our head into our body, into heart, lungs, spine, into the trunk, the center of our body. And notice the beauty of how your body moves when you breathe. You might even be able to notice something so subtle as the movement of your body against your clothes when you breathe. Can you stay with the breath for a little moment or two of your day, where not much gets in the way, where you stay with the idea of the clothes moving with your breath, the body moving with your breath, or simply the air coming in and out of your nose or mouth? Not for long, I'll mind the time and everything. It's just to give your mind a little break. If you like, you can say the words slow in your mind as you breathe in and down as you breathe out. And just notice and acknowledge that if your mind isn't with your breath, where is it? Where does it go? It's not good or bad, wherever it goes, but just notice what distracts it, what takes it. And ask yourself if it's okay to leave that for a moment and come back to the breath, just for 2 more minutes. It's like a gift you're giving yourself, it's a break. Notice how the body feels, the shoulders feel, the neck, the arms, the hips, the pelvis, down into the legs, into the feet. Just noticing the feeling that you have created across your body, across your mind by doing this class for yourself today. Well done. Let's take a bigger breath now, one that's a little more perky, a little more energetic. And take any little movements that you feel work for you, just to bring you back out of your Shavasana and into the next part of your day, whatever that brings for you. Well done for taking the break, for giving yourself the time. I'll meet you in sitting and we can say our little namaste when you're ready. And then always in your own time, especially from home, the beauty of it. Namaste, friends. See you all very soon, and thanks for participating and taking on that challenge with me this evening. See you very soon. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Orla. Thank you.
See you now, everyone.
Thank you, Orla. Night.
Thanks a million.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Orla.
You're so welcome. Sleep well.
Thanks a million. Bye bye.
You too.
Yeah, bye.